So as if things aren't crazy enough, now we are getting word that Jewish worshippers in Israel are practicing how to sacrifice red heifers right around where it's the 9th of Av. This is all going on where there's major escalation and really gearing up towards a regional war in the Middle East. But anyone who's seen my videos should not be surprised, because we know that the curse of the 8th decade and the end of Israel is nigh. Seeing as how Israel was proclaimed on May 14th, 1948, they are in their 76th anniversary from their founding. And we know that Israel by itself cannot make it past 80 years of being a sovereign state unless Jesus is reigning in Jerusalem. Furthermore, this coming Tisha B'Av, we are seeing the Jewish people form a chain around the Temple Mount, a literal chain around the Temple Mount to pray over the Temple Mount and invoke love and get ready for red heifer sacrifice. I wonder what could really incite an Ezekiel 38 war. How do we get a bunch of Arab nations that surround Israel to simultaneously attack them? Oh, I think I've got it. Desecrate their most unholy place, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is centered on the Temple Mount. There are absolutely major riots going on in the UK. That situation is escalating out of control. And lastly, we are about to see some major things going on with the closing ceremony in the Paris Olympics, with the terror threats and the CIA urging American citizens to not attend the closing ceremony in Paris and to stay clear of that due to terrorist threats. Now guys, with all that being said, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I keep seeing this stuff from these crazy Christians that the world is ending. Well, my friend, we're not saying that the world is ending for sure. We're saying it is highly probable, because Bible prophecy is quite literally jumping off the page. These things that were recorded over 2,000 years ago are now coming to life. Now, some of you, this might not be enough and you're just going to continue on your way. And if that's your choice, that's fine. But also some of you might be wondering, okay, well, the Bible might actually be real. That means God might be real. Well, how do I know if I'm good? And then there's a majority of you that are probably thinking, well, I'm a good person anyways, I've actually read a page in the Bible in my life, and I've prayed a prayer, and I've gone to church. I'm fine. I haven't killed anybody or anything. When I stand before God, I'll get into heaven. When I get to heaven, this, that, and the third. My friend, that's not how it works. And if you say you're a good person, I'm going to ask you 3 simple questions, not the full 10 questions. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Have you ever lied? If you have, you're a liar. Have you ever said, I hate you, or have you ever hated anybody? If you have, you're a murderer. Because Jesus said, if you hate somebody, then you've already murdered them in your heart. And if you've ever lusted after anybody, well, you've already committed adultery with that person in your heart. So just after 3 simple questions, if you said yes to these 3, you're a lying, adulterous murderer at heart. And if you stand before a righteous, holy, and perfect God on Judgment Day, are you going to heaven or hell? My friend, there is no such thing as a good person. We've all fallen short of the law. Now the question is, how do we get right with God? So real quickly, let's read Matthew 7:21 through 24 to get a proper illustration. So I want to skip verse 21 right here. We're going to come back to it. I'm going to show you why. Let's start with verse 22. Many will say unto me that day, talking about Judgment Day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have casted out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful or miraculous works. And Jesus says, and then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Wait. These people are performing exorcisms, they're prophesying, and they're performing miracles. Yet these people are working iniquity. How in the world is that possible? I don't know about you, but I've never performed a miracle. I've never really performed an exorcism. But yet I know that I'm going to heaven. How can that possibly be if these people didn't make it in? Well, let's keep reading. Let's come back to verse 21 right here. Not every one that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Okay. So the will of the Father obviously isn't any of this stuff, because these people didn't make it. They were still workers of iniquity. So what is the will of the Father? Well, thank you, Jesus, for laying it out so clearly to us. Here's John 6:40. And this is the will of him that sent me, or the Father, that everyone which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have, present tense, everlasting life. It's everlasting, it's eternal, it's secure, it's never ending. And I will, this is a promise, raise him up at the last day. Okay. So the will of the Father is to believe in Jesus for salvation. Oh, okay. Well, how did the other people not get in? Coming back to Matthew 7, they say, Lord, Lord. So they acknowledge Jesus as Lord, but look at their response, look at their heart posture. Did we not do this? Did we not prophesy? Did we not cast out devils? Were we not such a great follower of you? We were such a great follower of you. We went to church. We read the Bible. I gave money to charity. I said prayers. They're trusting in themselves. They're not trusting in Jesus. This is why they were workers of iniquity. They might have done good works, but good works from unrighteous people are like filthy rags to God, because you are still in death. When we trust in Jesus alone, we do the will of the Father, and we obtain Jesus' righteousness. My friends, if you've never heard this before, I invite you to seek Jesus in this time, because if you haven't seen some of my previous videos about the curse of the 8th decade of Israel, you might want to go watch them, right? Now, none of us are saying that the rapture or the tribulation is starting this fall. But I firmly believe in standing up for what you believe. And so I'm going to say this. I think it is highly probable that the tribulation will start in the fall. I think this is the perfect storm. This situation is ripe for a peace covenant with the world. We are exactly 7 years from the Revelation 12 sign. 7 years of good, 7 years of bad. Israel is approaching its 8th decade. The red heifers are in Israel, approaching the age, or already at the age to be sacrificed for the rebuilding of the temple. We have a global economic crash, scratch the crash, destruction. The world is in turmoil, civil turmoil. We are seeing darkness, murder, sexual assaulting, and just pedophilia. It's all running rampant. Thievery, it's just all running rampant. Look at the entertainment we consume. It just idolizes and glorifies sin, and we as a populace just consume it. The world is so dark. Now, this isn't to spread fear, but it is to spread awareness. And so I invite you, people that are watching this, if you haven't given your life to Christ, I'm asking you, what is stopping you? Now that you've seen this video, you're going to be left with no excuse when you stand before Jesus. Now my question to you is, are you going to stand with the world against Jesus, or are you going to stand with Jesus against the world? Now, as a final snippet, I encourage my followers and the viewers of this video, go check out the channel, Rock Island Books. This organization is headed by the man C.J. Lovick, and through his research into eschatology, he's put together a plethora of wonderful videos, very in-depth, very explanatory, and I personally think it's really well put together. And I think that everyone should go be watching these videos. Now, I'm not saying he's 100% on the dot. I'm just saying it's interesting. And it's interesting to see all these other things tie into what we're seeing already. We see such a convergence. So anyways, with that, my brothers and sisters, I love you. And what are we supposed to do when we see all these things happening? We're supposed to look up, because we know our blessed hope, or our redemption, draws near. Maranatha.